The franchise journey continues, and today we're going to talk to Jerome Smalls, founder of SoccerGemz. We're going to talk about his franchising journey and the amazing brand he's building. Jerome, I've been waiting a while to do this. It's been fun working together as franchise counsel, as advisors. We talk to clients. All of our clients have a similar pattern to who they are as people, what they're building. And so I've been looking forward to our conversation. I know you've been doing a ton of work in the background as you build up SoccerGemz, as you adapt to the franchise world. And so it's going to be fun talking about your journey and touching base here today.
Yeah, I'm excited. And again, this has been an absolute bless working with you guys and the rest of your team. So yeah, I'm excited to jump into it.
So Jerome, as we go into your journey, just briefly, what is SoccerGemz all about?
So again, we're about empowering the community. We're about establishing a positive, family-friendly soccer program in the community. But deep down to its core, that's what we're about. We're just about creating the ultimate experience for families, for players, and for our coaches on the soccer field.
Okay, so, and it's funny, as we were getting ready for this video today, right, we're talking and we're having a conversation, and like, I know there's so much deep down in what you're doing and what you're building. Yeah. And for anyone watching this, especially if you're thinking about franchising your business, you're a new franchisor, or even someone looking for a franchise opportunity, in the most positive way, Jerome is relentless. He's always working on his business. So great with, accepting advice or evaluating it and adapting. I don't think there's one thing we haven't asked or talked about where I haven't seen you come back and you're really working on the business itself. So from a franchise perspective, I mean, SoccerGemz is in, I would say a market, children's recreational soccer instruction. It's definitely proven, which means there's competition, but opportunity. So it's low startup costs. It's a home-based business, which really gets into the important part of, I know you're a teacher, Jerome, which makes sense in the business you've created. So how do you go from teacher to creating SoccerGemz to franchisor? And where's this journey taking us?
But the funny thing about this is that, Charles, and I think we've talked about this before, is that, yes, I was a special education teacher. So some of the benefits of being a teacher and obviously loving kids and working with kids, transitions over to SoccerGemz. And it allowed me to kind of have a different perspective in developing our curriculum. And I think that that's probably the most that kind of carried over from teaching to SoccerGemz is just allowing us for me to develop a unique curriculum that's different from any other program or any other business out there. But deep down, you know what I mean? Like inside of me, I've always been a business owner and entrepreneur and want to kind of, have the freedom, flexibility, kind of the ownership on me to provide for my family, to be able to employ, others, to be able to just have that opportunity. My mom owned her own business for years, so I really grew up seeing kind of business ownership at its finest.
Well, it's I love your focus, right? So home administered business, right? Mobile business, your soccer instruction and programs. And I know before we were talking about someone, we both, are friends and admire Laura Coe at Snapology. And, yes. And I love that you and Laura, and you work with Laura or look at her as an advisor and someone to look toward. In the beginning too, I love that Laura was always focused for Snapology on creating curriculum. Mm-hmm. It's one thing for a business to say they do something, but, as a franchisor, franchise system, these assets, whether they're tangible or not, they're critical, right? Because that curriculum leads to a great experience by children, by parents, and it becomes that playbook that everyone in the franchise world claims to have. And what I love is you're so modest when we're speaking, right? So it makes perfect sense as a teacher, you're very curriculum focused. You're creating curriculum around SoccerGemz, and we'll dive into that more. I know you have two daughters, right, Jerome?
Yes.
How old are your daughters?
So my oldest, Ivriel, she's 15, and then my youngest, Honora, she's 10.
So, I mean, as you made the transition and decided one day, hey, you know what? I'm going to leave my teaching career and just going to run SoccerGemz and create it and build it and grow it as a business. I mean, what did that feel like? What were you thinking?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, and there's no secret here, right? As far as being a teacher and what they get paid and their salary, right? Like it's pretty common knowledge that, you know, teachers are underpaid, which obviously held true, you know, 12 years ago. So the decision in regards to financial stability, it was easy, right? Because I mean, it wasn't that much that we were getting paid as a teacher. So to be able to, you know, focus primarily on running the business and having 100% ownership of, you know, my work and sweat equity, that was an easy decision. The benefits of having more time with my family, being able to, you know, go places, to be able to do things when you need it, like those were bonuses included in the kind of total package to make it. And again, I think, you know, I love working with kids. So I'm still working with kids. I'm still working with families. I'm very much a people person. We still offer our program at schools, right? So I still get to interact with, you know, administrators and teachers and things like that. But financially, the decision was easy because I was able to replace very early my annual salary from teaching.
So Jerome, on the consumer end, SoccerGemz, what are the advantages you're providing to children and families? What's the transformation? Like, what's the greater good that's happening? Because something special is happening there at SoccerGemz.
It is. Again, for us, it's really seeing the kids enjoy being out there playing soccer, learning soccer, but then also our whole curriculum is developed about adding the educational component to it. So it's amazing to talk to parents or initially think that 18 months might be a little young, you know, they're not sure. But then after like doing a session with us, seeing that their 18-month-old now is following directions, that they're starting to identify colors and numbers and shapes and having fun, you know, with the soccer ball, it's mind blowing. It really is like, that's what really hits me to my core, is because I know how skeptical or kind of how concerned, you know, some parents may come in early thinking that, and then to see that their kid is progressing socially, academically, but then athletically. So it really is combining all three of it into it. And even for our older age groups, like kids are coming in where they're 6 or 7 and they've never played before. And it's an environment where the kids are having fun. It's building up their confidence. It's building up their skills. So now instead of putting them and throwing them into a competitive program, they built up the confidence, they built up the skills. And then once they become 8 or 9, they can transition into a more competitive program and kind of have that advantage and that confidence that they can play in a competitive program. So there's various levels for different, you know, age groups that it really does hit on and provide to our families and the kids in those different age groups.
I love, Jerome, that you always pull back. You are a teacher, and I love your focus. I mean, the last thing I'd be thinking about is shapes and all this other. Like for me, as you know, my kids are older, but I mean, youth sports is so critical for so many things. You know. Managing those disappointments and leaving a field, you know, with failure or perceived failure and disappointment is sort of the best lesson and experience. And those moments afterwards, I mean, how do you feel? You go from classroom influencing children to influencing parents, right? And children and even the moments you don't know about that are off the soccer field, but maybe 20 minutes later when everyone's having pizza or whatever, celebrating whatever else. I mean, even looking at the brand and the business, you know, you're taking for granted where you were and where you are today. Like, how did you make that leap from teacher to a very thoughtful business here?
Yeah, no, and it's definitely taken, again, we've been doing this for 12 years, so it has definitely taken some time to, try things and adjust and pivot and, kind of improve on the initial core of our program and of the business. But coming from teaching and kind of how did we transition that, I knew early on that out of everything we needed to focus on, the number one thing we needed to focus on was building relationships with families. And I think that that's no different if you're in the automotive industry, if you're in the, painting, construction, like building relationships with your customers. I knew if we built relationships with our families and they enjoyed the program, they would return, and then they would also refer other families. And that's really how we started to grow.
Jerome, sort of personal, like, I don't know, as a dad, I could pick a couple of moments. Like, do you have that one special moment that's in your head, you think forever, with your daughters or one of your daughters on a soccer field?
Oh, yes. Yeah, yes. I mean,
do you want to share that one?
Yeah.
Those are the things I love. Like, what's that? Because I always think there's all those memories that right before you die, right? Those are one of the ones, I could think both of my sons, I could see those moments, in whatever sports setting. But what would you share some, that with us?
Yeah. So again, for my oldest daughter, right before we started SoccerGemz, she was in another competitive, or not even competitive, but just another program early on. And there's probably two moments. One where, in one instance, is what they were teaching her was completely, it was a soccer program, and they have her go pick up the ball with her hands. Like they're giving a 2-year-old instructions to pick up the ball with their hands, which is obviously totally counterproductive to soccer. Like the only thing we want to do is tell them not to use their hands. So that was one. But then the other one was like having my daughter go through, again, another program, and them not knowing who I was, my name, or even my daughter's name. You know what I mean? Like the coaches did not know, the director did not know. And that's something for me that I take extreme pride in, that our parents are like, wow, like, how do you know my kid's name? You know what I mean? Like, or how do you remember all these kids' names? Because I genuinely care. And you know what I mean? Like, it becomes easier, especially when they return session after session. Now we're building genuine relationships with the families. Those were the moments that I vividly remember having my oldest daughter in other programs. Now, my youngest daughter, she had the benefit of being born into SoccerGemz and spending every weekend until she aged out in the program. So the coaches knew her dad's name and they knew her name.
Now, those are like when you said she aged out, like as parents, the one thing I think that's always good advice for every parent is just to keep always acknowledge and recognize there's going to be that last moment on that field. Yeah. And it's a special moment,
Well, it's a funny thing because too, just last week we had a player who he's aged out, right? Like, so this was now his family, they'll still come because his younger sister is in the program as well. But, I had a very heartfelt moment with them because he's been in it for 5 years. He's been in the program, he's grown up in it, and now he'll be turning 9. So he's aging out. And the parents were just very, very thankful, man. They were just really thankful that they found a program where he was able to grow and excel and build that confidence and loving the coaches and having that personal relationship with the coaches and having the structure. And they were a little bit sad that, he was aging out. But again, the younger sister is still in the program. And I feel good, though, because I know that he'll be able to go to now more of a competitive, program and be able to hit the ground running and kind of not miss a beat. there.
Again, you're a teacher. I think these moments with sports are as important as education, or is education. And those moments, I think about them all the time. Those moments on a sports field and walking off and being dirty and practicing late into the night.
Yeah.
That's where you really impact children. So impacting children, certainly SoccerGemz is on a mission. But let's now, this is heavy lifting here. I'm going to throw some stuff at you here. So you made the transition from teacher to entrepreneur and now franchisor. And Jerome, and for anyone who doesn't see it in this video, boy, Jerome is very thoughtful and and focusing on his business. And for the franchisors out there, we're going to talk in a minute about Jerome's journey there too, and advice he has for someone out there, whether it's a teacher or someone else who's just not satisfied with what they're doing and they're looking to change their lives. What is the big why, or what are some compelling reasons why SoccerGemz could be a good fit?
Man, I mean, as we look right there of just seeing how we're able to impact kids, community, we do a lot in the community, a lot of working with schools. And if someone is, they're thinking about making that transition from their current employment to, being a franchisee with SoccerGemz, I'm very dedicated to helping others, right? Like that's a real passion of mine, is to be able to help others successfully be a business owner. So me giving them support and knowing how scary it was to make that leap into, being a business owner. Like I'm very passionate about that and helping them get started the right way so that way they can benefit and have those things as far as more family time and impacting their community and understanding what it really takes to own a business. Like I'm really passionate about giving the support to other potential franchisees.
And Jerome, what does it look like when you become a franchisee? And setting aside the fact that, look, if you're buying a franchise, evaluate, right? A number of things. Right. Number one, how does the franchise fit in with what you're looking for, as an economic opportunity? And then evaluate and whether it's founders or other validation. But what does it look like to own a SoccerGemz? I sign up tomorrow. What does my life look like? Am I working from home? Am I renting fields? What are the advantages? What are the challenges? Is it easy for me to build up a base of students and families? And I know there's restrictions on what you can and can't say, but I'm saying, what does that look like generally? If we're having a drink and no one's ever watching this video, right, what's the conversation like here?
Right. Well, again, I it is hard work, just like any business is. But I think it is working from home, right? So you don't have that expensive overhead of a brick and mortar, having to find real estate or anything like that. So I think just with that being eliminated, it allows you the opportunity to get started a lot quicker and to be able to ramp up, to not have to worry about that overhead expense of a brick and mortar, real estate, anything like that. Now, you do have to go, you do have to obviously find a field. But also the great thing about it is it doesn't have to be a regulation official soccer field. I mean, we partner with a church where they've had a huge piece of just open land that was not being used. And that's where we play. So it doesn't have to be an official size soccer field or anything like that. And then in regards to coaches, again, we're here in Tampa, so we have several universities and college campuses, within the area. So we're able to work with those guys and, get college students that love soccer, love working with kids and things like that. We're able to train them to kind of complete our mission and do it the way that our parents have come to expect, the way that I expected, and just to be able to demonstrate that vision and mission to, implement in our curriculum.
So Jerome, home-based business, I'm going to operate out of my house.
Yeah.
My I'm going to go through training. I have my curriculum, which is going to be critical. So then my next task, local church, community fields, I'm going to just, license or find out how I could
just rent it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm going to build up. So what is it like building up that community of families and things like that?
Yeah. So that, I mean, again, you're going to spend time going into schools, elementary schools, learning centers where, you're marketing to them, because that is one of the revenue streams, is offering our program to after schools and elementary and learning centers. But even if we don't offer a program to their schools, we're still able to be a sponsor. So parents are, receiving our marketing materials, whether it's emails or flyers, or even just having banners up on, the car line fence. So we're able to build up community that way. And then also, obviously, social media and having an online presence is going to be critical. And as far as getting that out into the community, that you, as a new franchisee, is offering, a program in your community.
Well, and I think every parent knows well, first of all, yeah, like when I look at different businesses, industry-wise, there's overwhelming demographics and there's a population that needs this. But you sign up one child and there's 4 others in other families. Right. And so it's a lower startup cost business. What does success look like, and who are like perfect fit franchisees for SoccerGemz? Let's go, Jerome.
Our perfect fit is, again, obviously someone who loves working with kids. Doesn't have to be a soccer player or anything like that. Like, I honestly have never played soccer a day in my life.
Wait, that's the biggest headline here. Wait, come on, Joe. We couldn't have gone through this whole video, and now you tell us this?
Yeah, I was waiting for the right time, waiting for the intro.
I feel insecure the whole video because I know nothing about soccer. My only experience, so my sons played baseball, and then high school was crew in baseball. And my only experience is my son walking off a soccer field as a kid, not paying attention. Coaching wasn't great. It wasn't their fault, though. But what? Wait a second.
Yeah.
Come on, Jerome.
So I never played soccer a day in my life, right? Like
this is like the headline video here. And I have to now go change the introduction.
And that's the beautiful, I think that's the beautiful thing about it, is that we're not looking for a former professional soccer player who's, retiring and now wants to get into soccer or anything like that. Like, we're looking for someone who genuinely enjoy working with kids, who understands the relationship part of building a community, and someone who, I would say, has a sales background, right? And in sales, I mean, just being comfortable going in the community and marketing yourself. So someone who's an extrovert, right? Someone who doesn't mind getting up, speaking to people at a networking event, or promoting, out at a community event. Those are the people that we feel as though it is our ideal franchisee. So yeah, again, no soccer experience needed.
I love that. And you look athletic, I'm thinking Jerome must be an amazing soccer player.
And that's the funny thing about it, is that obviously, parents think that, right? Parents until we get to talking, and I'm like, yeah, no, I never played soccer at all. I mean, yes, I played sports and things like that, but never played soccer. And that's the number one kind of compliment that we get, is the fact that, like, our parents don't care. Parents don't care. They're not looking for our coaches to be professional.
And Jerome, what I love about it, and that widget, right? Whatever it is, it needs to be great, right? And we look at SoccerGemz, beautiful brand, and and even deeper, that people you don't see but feel is, the fact that I think it's more important that you've never played soccer, but you're an educator and instructor, and you're focused methodically on curriculum and experience and learning. It's so funny. Now I understand why when you're describing soccer to me, you're talking about shapes and teaching terms, right? I love that.
Like we're never really talking about anything technical or, mastering a particular skill or anything like that.
But you could hire trainers, and it's funny, even as I learned, like I coached baseball, recreational travel. I managed it, and I realized that managing a team, we did it for a long time, from when they were 8 to, 16, and amazing group of kids and now young men. But I realized the greatest skill that you need is just managing people and relationships, not the technical skill. You bring in coaches for that, right? But
right, and that's what I mean as far as the type of person we're looking for.
So you want a community builder is going to be out there. It's going to build that network, get people excited. You rent a soccer field and you start running your programs. And your point.
And as you said, you manage you manage people, you manage your coaches. We don't want you out there on the field coaching classes, right? Because that's not a scalable model. The model is for you to employ multiple coaches. So now instead of running one class at a time, you can run 4, 8, 12 classes based on the quality instructors you have.
So let's talk about that. So what should success look and feel like for a franchisee that joins the SoccerGemz team?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, versus it being a kind of relative number or anything like that, I think it has to be something that's deep within inside. And I think that it will look different for each individual, because some individuals, they really want to scale it. They want to have 2, 3, 4 territories and have it running all at once. Some individuals may be very satisfied with their one territory and they're impacting and they are developing those personal relationships with the families. But overall, I think that, kind of the consensus is that it's going to be a business that will provide for them and their family financially. I think anyone that goes...
You're talking about, right, that, and there's scalable territories and opportunities. And so this could fit in for someone to supplement their income or build, right? So just go forward with that a little.
Yeah. And again, I think it's an opportunity for individuals that at the core, they get into a business to make money. They get into owning a business to have that financial flexibility and freedom. So success at the very baseline looks like that a business owner, a franchisee come in, has the support to start and operate and be successful financially in their territory. As I said, for some, it might be one territory. For some, they might want 4 and 5 territories. So that's going to vary. But at its core, I think financially for them to be successful.
And I think that's the magic part of, well, not magic. There's no magic. It's just a lot of hard work. But, a lower startup cost home-based business, there's advantages there. And there's definitely opportunity. Jerome, so we have amazing people on our YouTube channel. I think, that's how we met, or we were introduced. But
yeah,
what I appreciate about your journey is you franchised initially and you hit some roadblocks, but you didn't accept, like, my big concern for new franchisors is maybe you don't come out of the gate the right way.
Yes.
And maybe you didn't work with the right partner. Okay, but brush yourself off. We got to advance the brand. And some brands, they get stuck and they don't know where to go. And what I love about your journey is you're very proactive, the way an educator would be, right? Where you reached out to other people and had conversations. And at one point we had a conversation, which I think not a difficult one, but where, hey, we need to retool and rethink. Share, because there's that's a big part of, we get so many questions about that, not about our services, but about, hey, Charles, I franchised a year ago, but I feel stuck and things are wrong. Or what I feel bad about is I'm going to give you advice. It's not the easiest advice, but I promise it's the right thing. What could you share with other franchisors out there?
Well, first, to kind of, pick up where you just left off right there, is that the advice that you've given, as you just said, is it's not the easiest advice, you know what I mean? But it has been the right advice for us. So as you said, yes, we did start franchising several years ago, and we didn't work with the right attorney. We didn't work with the right consultant, and it was a huge expense. It was. But as you said, for me, I knew back then when we started that journey that franchising was going to be the goal for us. And because as I alluded to earlier, I like helping people and I know what it was like to start a business. So for me, it wasn't necessarily about, oh man, we tried it and it didn't work. It was about, we tried it, it didn't work. What can we do? Who can we reach out to that we're seeing doing exactly what we wanted to do? And I think that was some of the changes that I made was this time around was reaching out to people that we've met at different conferences and saying, what attorney are you using? What consultant are you using? Who are you using for, this and that? And that's how, again, Laura and Drew from Ivy Brook, those guys said, hey, man, you should, talk to Charles and his team over there. And that's seeing, like, working with you guys, that's where we knew our first FDD was more of a cookie cutter. And that's probably, again, the biggest thing that I want to help people avoid is because everyone says that they're a franchise attorney or they can get an FDD, and it turns out to be really a very expensive cookie cutter FDD that has been given to multiple clients. So for us, I'm determined. I'm determined. And I believe, and again, not only that, I believe in the business model that we have. And I haven't veered off course from that business model. And I know that it is what it's done for me and my family. And I know that it can be duplicated and provide that same level of success for other families. So,
Jerome, I'm excited. I'm so glad we did this today. And as you're speaking, ton of credit to you, because I could remember some moments, we recommended unrelated to legal, whether it's, because you have something special and we all need to dig down and give credit for what we've done or as entrepreneurs and really connect. And every time you've always been responding and always looking to create more improvement for your franchise system and what you're offering. So I'm glad we're recording this part of the journey, because when years from now, Jerome, yes. When, this will be fun stuff to look back on. But
you know what though? It really has been this go around for me, and working with you and Melissa and Gina, just even going through that mastery class, course, and really taking a deep dive into answering those questions, that, in all honesty, Charles, that was okay, it's a little bit gut wrenching. It's a little bit making me feel vulnerable, but it was so necessary to really help me get thinking on a deeper level. And I think that's just that one example was something that previously the franchise attorney that we used previously was nowhere near that, was nowhere near kind of getting you to think about those things. It was just, here you go, here's an FDD. So that in itself, I mean, again, 100 times over is valuable to me in kind of getting me to think about the business on a different level. So I couldn't be more thankful just in advance.
I appreciate that, Jerome. I really do. And I appreciate we're working together and on this journey and all this great info, which I am now going to change the introduction because I need to make sure I mention that you don't know how to play soccer.
I don't. But you can't put that out there, right? Because I still need some street cred, right?
I don't know, Jerome. You're gonna,
So we don't want to get it out there too much. But no, again, I think that's the best part about it. Families I appreciate. You're still a great coach. We're still.
Jerome, Look, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah. And fortunately for me, you know, I don't have to coach any classes or anything like that.
No.
So that's
There's a big story here, though, which is really hard of what you're building. Right? You were looking for a goal to improve lives. It doesn't matter what it is, and you found a beautiful one. Jerome, I appreciate the time today.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And again, as always, I'm just really, really grateful to be able to work with you guys and help me kind of propel and move the brand forward. Because again, I know that there's so much more than just the legality of being a franchise attorney that you guys helped me with. So
that's awesome. And everyone out there, reach out to Jerome. Franchisors, and Jerome's always willing to share. He's a great person. Thanks, Jerome.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks a lot, Charles.